I was a skeptical person before I started this journey of Khadi. I was skeptical because I was somebody who teaches topics like Balasa-Samuelson effect, which very clearly says that handmade products can never be cheap. It would be expensive, especially in a country like India. And at this point of time, I was part of this team which was supposed to contemporize Khadi. And at that point, I started reading, like I wanted to know, how did this journey start? And when I started reading, it was, my eyes opened up. Gandhiji himself says that till 1908, he has never seen a handloom or a spinning wheel for that matter. It was not part of his trade. And when he establishes the Satyagraha ashram, which is also known as the Sabarmati ashram, they wanted to start off weaving, and there was no spinners out there. And they start getting yarns from Indian mills and called it as Swadeshi fabric. And Gandhiji started wearing it. And then somewhere around 1917, he meets a person called as Gangaben Majumdar. Somebody was like, somebody who would ride a horse, travel from one city to the other. And Gandhiji writes about how hands-on person she was. And he asked him, can you get me a spinning wheel? And it was Gangaben who goes to Vijapur in Baroda state and gets the spinning wheel for the Sabarmati ashram, or back then it was called as the Satyagraha ashram. It was 1917. And you should know one aspect. What would be the cost of Khadi in 1917? Gandhiji says it cost 17 annas per yard. That means a dhoti, which is around 4 to 5 yards, would cost you around 4 rupees 25 paisa. I mean, 25 paisa was not there. And as a comparative note, I would put across this. The price of 10-gram gold back then in 1917 was 16 rupees 55 paisa. Now you can imagine, the price of Khadi product spinned in Sabarmati ashram cost equivalent to price in its gold. And Gandhiji gives an ultimatum to Gangaben because the fabric that was being produced there was hardly 30 inches. And Gandhiji says, if you do not give me a 45-inch cloth, he's going to wear the 30-inch cloth and go around the country. And Gangaben, being herself, she got the entire 45 inches being produced right away. And in his works, we can actually see that he wanted to modernize this entire concept of charka. He gave a challenge that there would be 1 lakh rupee paid for anybody who would be able to modernize charka. The one that you see here was designed as per the specifications of Gandhiji and was used when he was at the Erawara jail in Pune. And one interesting note that the Khadi Bandar manager in Bombay writes to Gandhiji about the status of the usage of Khadi. And he says that the highest sales of Khadi was in the year 1922 when Gandhiji was arrested. And the sales was roughly around 2,45,515 rupees. What brings us to this point is that if you have a good influencer like Mahatma Gandhiji, Khadi, even though it was expensive back then, was used by everyone. Today, if we all request all the audience out there, if you all can become the influencers in popularizing Khadi, great leaders around us to popularize it. I'm sure, just like the way we exported the concept of zero, the concept of yoga, we are now exporting the concept of Khadi. And you all would know that the entire world is now not looking at fast fashion. It is now looking at slow fashion, slow food, slow life. And what better than today when all the fastness around us has caused what we see today. And I'm sure Khadi and the way of Khadi is the answer to tackle that. According to Gandhiji, Khadi stands for simplicity, not shoddiness. It sits well on the shoulders of the poor, and it can be made as it was made at the days of the yore to adorn the bodies of the richest and the most artistic men and women. It is reviving ancient art and crafts. It does not seek to destroy all machinery, but it does to regulate its use and check its weedy growth. So what Gandhiji said out there was, machinery would be there, it will produce its own products. Let's look at revitalizing our past. The wheel itself is an executive piece of machinery. So what Kadhi delivers the poor from the bonds of the rich and creates a moral and spiritual bond between the classes and the masses. It restores to the poor somewhat of what rich has taken from them. This is what he had written in Young India, 1927. And from what Gandhiji had written in all his letters to people around, the Khaddar Act of 1950 was formulated. And the act says that the words Khaddar and Khadi, whether in Hindi or any other Indian language or in English, when applied to any woven material, shall be deemed to be a trade description within the meanings of Indian Merchandise Marks Act, indicating that such material is cloth woven on handlooms in India from cotton, silk, or woolen yarn handspun in India. That means the primary criteria is it should be handspun. And Khadi or Khaddar need not be cotton alone. And as we can see in the later slides, it could be silk, it could be woolen, as long as it's hand woven out here and hand spun. So I'll show you a small video about 4 minutes long, which would explain the gist of what we had done. And then we'll continue forward with my presentation.
Ishan, is there a little lag in the playing of the video? And the video hasn't really started on the screen yet. Yeah,
T-shirt. Huh? Final presentation.
There seems to be a small little glitch. I'm sure we shall go over it. Yeah, great. I think it's come.
Kadhi October. Open. I'm sorry, I'll just play the video one more time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I hope.
Will it come on now? Because we can still not really see the video.
It's not coming.
So maybe while your technical team is working on it, you just want to tell us something.
I'll start with my presentation, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think we can carry on and let the technical team sort that out. Not a problem.
That video would have summarized the entire, our presentation. But yes, I'll revisit it.
Probably towards the end, we can try.
Towards the end, I will put across.
Not a problem.
So the connection of Karnataka, Belgaum, and Gandhiji, Belgavi and Gandhiji is really immense. He actually talks about sandal, which was presented to him, which recently went on to an auction.
Okay.
And He says that he actually dipped it in the oil so that it will not bite him.
Oh.
And this particular sandal was presented to him by the Khadi artisans from the village called Hudli. I've shared the coordinates for our tourists, the
I think we need
enthusiasts
to
out
go
there.
back to the presentation once again, because what we can't really see the presentation sheets anymore. So I think you'll have to just switch back to the presentation. Yeah. There it is. Thank you.
So all the smaller glitches out there, sorry. So
I
as I
must
was
say
talking
on
about,
this point, Prashant, and this is something we keep telling our viewers, that while technology is a fantastic platform to see the splendor, that's India, but nothing like going and see the real-time thing, you know. The technology is only a backup, and actually feeling the fibers, going to the museums, going to the Khadi outlets, and actually feeling the effort and the love of labor of somebody who spun it would be something entirely else. Please go ahead, Prashant.
yeah. So as I was talking about the sandal which was presented to Gandhiji, it was from this village in Hudali. Here, Gandhiji spent about a week interacting with people around there, and there is a very beautiful ashram which has been built up. The coordinates are shared for all those enthusiasts who would like to visit that place. It's about 29 kilometers from Belgavi, about an hour drive. And when you are at it, you can eat the beautiful, tasty Belgavi kunda. And what you would find in this place is a museum which has been set up with all the artifacts which was used by Gandhiji at that point of time. And from here, I would take you to a place called Upina Pedigree. It is in Dharwad. And what's really interesting about Upina Pedigree is it's the world's only place where colored cotton is grown. The University of Agriculture Science, Dharwad, has a patent on this particular cotton, and we are really proud that it's in India that where colored cotton is grown. So what's the benefit of that is you don't have to dye your fabrics. And the Upina Pedigree Kadhi Society exclusively produces this really exquisite fabric. And when I visited this place, I was like mesmerized with the way the fabrics were being prepared. And this is what you would see in these places. And what's really an interesting aspect here is I've not seen anybody working as in a factory kind of a setup. Here you had men and women who would work in their own homes, and in their free time, they would come to the society and start working. And that adds to their income, not as a, they have a regular income coming from the farms, but this acts as a supplementary income. I think this is what Gandhiji also meant long time back. The colored cotton, as I was talking about, is being spinned in Upina Pedigree Kadhi Society in Dharwad. And they have this entire infrastructure where it could be converted into yardages. When we went there, we found a Japanese buyer who was buying up all the production that was available. And you mainly would find the women folk from the village working on the spinning wheels and weaving and coming out with all the products out there. And now what had happened for us was NIFT Bengaluru tied up with the Karnataka State Khadi and Village Industries Board for a project of looking at how do we strategically place the brand Khadi to the millennial and the Gen Zs. We started off with stakeholder meetings. And who were the stakeholders? They were the ones who had spent their entire life in uplifting Khadi. They had years of experience in getting this wonder fabric. And they call it as Ushnakale Shitam Shitakale Ushnam. That means you have a fabric which you can wear for both the seasons. And we took their feedbacks, we incorporated that in our product development, and we also understood the skill levels of the existing artisans. And using that as a benchmark, we looked at our intervention level 1, where we took up what they knew and introduced them the contemporary products that they can work on Khadi. We got the artisans were selected by the Karnataka State Khadi Board. They were sent across to a campus, and it was an interesting learning process. You know, we learned from them how they work. They learned from us how the contemporary products would be developed. And we had both kind of set of people walking in. People who had 20 to 30 years of experience in working on this fabric, and along with them, young novice artisans who started working for the societies. And as you can see, the demography of the trainees was really interesting. We had the youngest trainee was 18-year-old, whereas the oldest trainee was 74-year-old. Now that's a wide range of age group that we trained. And from here, we also gave them one interesting aspect. We came to know that they would value a certificate along with a kit, a modern kit, which they can go back and start using in their own homes. So we procured these kits for them and handed it over to their own use, which they could put across. Just a glimpse of the people who had trained. As you can see, the old generation and the coming new generation who took up this challenge of converting the products out there. And he was incidentally one of our oldest participant in the entire training. And at this rate, we also, during our surveys and interactions, we came to know that we did have products for the old, the men, women, but there was a lack of product development for kids. And why not? Because India's fertility rate is 2.3 as of 2017. So that means the population is going to remain the same for a couple of generations. So that means we got a lot of young kids coming across, and if they are not in touch with Khadi, that means we're going to lose a lot of mind space. So that's where we started working on Khadi. And at this point, we also saw that the khaddar had a coarse finish. So we thought we'll start working on silk. We sourced the silk from Sidlaghatta area near to Kolar, which is about an hour drive from Bangalore, and wonderful silk that they produce out there. And we combined it with the natural colored Khadi cotton, the Upina Pedigree cotton, which I said, which has a natural color. We don't have to dye the colors. So we combined it with cotton and silk. And what you see is these products for kids wear. But we did not stop for kids wear alone. We went ahead and started designing for everyone. So we thought one interesting thing that happens in Bangalore is that every August 15th and October 2nd, the IT parks, like Bangalore is filled with IT parks, they celebrate Ethnic Day / Khadi Day. And interestingly, the products that they procure, incidentally, is not 100% Khadi. And it's really interesting to see that during Gandhiji's time also, counterfeit Khadi was there. He writes in Young Indian saying that there are many people who are selling mill-made products under the name of Khadi and charging a premium for it. Thereby, the poor Khadi artisans are losing on the dividends. So we thought that if this is a prevalence, and we have more than 10 lakh plus people who are working in these IT firms, and if they're going to wear at least one Khadi product on an August 15th, our Independence Day, and we started the products that you see out there, lounge wears, corporate wears, which they can carry it off anywhere. And we also thought of developing corporate wears in Khadi, which is a mixture of cotton plus silk. And what you see is this. So we envisaged, if a corporate meeting happens, how would it look like? And what you see there is from the ties onwards, everything is made up of Khadi. And incidentally, everything is sourced from Karnataka. And we did not stop there. We started promoting it in various platforms. We call it as product promotions, like fashion shows, as we can see it on the screen. We combined the lustrous silk with this rich texture of cotton. the designers of NIFT and their students, they came out with this really wonderful products, which we are really proud of what you see on the screen, as you can see. These are the silks from Sidlagata, Kolar region of Karnataka. And we also took it to this shows to tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities. This is Chikkaballapur, which is also the land of silk. And we took it there, and the people out there, they were mesmerized to see, is this the same silk product has been converted into something like this? Because what you see there is actually a shirting material, which has been converted into what the products that you see. But we did not stop out there. We went ahead and developed fusion and ethnic wears for younger crowd. The products that, as you see on the screen right now. Something which would make them comfortable. And at this point, I would like to thank the Karnataka State Khadi and Village Industries Board, which actually sponsored this project for us. And that was a journey which was well-traveled by both the teams. So we did not limit ourselves for just apparels. It went on for home furnishings, as well as lifestyle accessory products. This product, especially the one that you see here, it's actually the fabric is the towel material, which is done at Bengaluru Khadi Federation in Hubballi. So we took that, we added value to it, and we came out with the cushions that you can use it in any lifestyle environment. So these were the products which were developed by the trainees. Each product was developed by them, and these were the products which were developed by our designers in our campus. We also came out with the Khadi books. The cover was silk as sourced from Kolar and other regions. As you can see, the products. And finally, we thought that you have this one range of products which has root in our Indian culture. What about contemporizing it and also talking to the Western market? And the one that you see out there has been produced in that likeness. These are the products which were developed by the 500 odd artisans who came to our campus in the last 5 years. So, as I said, the lifestyle accessories like lampshades were designed using the same fabric that otherwise would be not looked as something where you can use out here. So it's all about thinking about how can we actually incorporate the same materials around. And the then Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, inaugurated our promotional drive, and we went ahead and started promoting the very products that we had developed, and it culminated with an exhibition on celebrating the man, the Mahatma. How an attorney becomes a Mahatma, and how we all can walk in his shadows. And every person has a shadow, and how we can be part of that. And we did this show in 2 different exhibitions out there. The one that you see here has been developed by one of our students, Kalita, and he won at Sweden's Best Design Award out there for the same product. And with this, we also wanted to communicate the prism of inclusiveness, which Gandhiji wanted to convey across way back. So to celebrate his 150th birth centenary year, we thought, we all are different. And just like prism, the way the light would enter and disperse off. So we took 144 yarns and we conversed it into what you see out here. And these are the artisans who have been trained at our campus. And it was such a real and interesting experience to be part of their journey for us, because we learned a lot from them, as well as we could be able to contribute to them. So like the way Gandhiji was contemplating in his Eravada jail scene, This is a time when we need to think how we can incorporate the same values, how we can take it forward, and how relevant it is even now. And whatever problems that we see now in terms of the Khadi sector was existing back then, and it's even existing right now. And each one of us out here can actually popularizing it by buying at least one handkerchief which is made up of Khadi to begin with, and later on an entire ensemble. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, both Susan and Prashant. I think the products, viewers, that you could see on so much innovation and so much work that NIFT is doing. A suggestion came along from one of the viewers was that why can't we at least, actually there's nothing stopping us from doing it 24/7, but why not at least one day, can we take a vow and say, let's wear something from the Khadi products, have a lamp, beautiful lamps, and there are so many other Khadi products, in fact, these days. And not only is it about owning up your own heritage and owning up your own culture and adding value, but it's also about giving an economic engine to a wealth that we have. You know, and just imagine the sense of contribution that you would get. The moment you went and bought a product, you were actually lighting the chula in somebody's house. I think that's the kind of direct contribution sense that you'll get. And I'm sure all of us have it in us. It's just a question of those little nudges and those little remembrances. And we're so glad, therefore, that you mentioned about the beautiful, beautiful products. And I'm sure you shall need more. Before we go to some questions, and thanks Prashant for reminding our viewers that today, as we celebrate Mahatma Gandhi's birthday and his Jayanti, we also have another very tall leader from India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was also born on 2nd October in 1904. In fact, he was quite a follower of Gandhian philosophy himself. And interestingly, he was not born Lal Bahadur Shastri, he was born Lal Bahadur Srivastav. And then he went to the Kashi Vidyapith, which was inaugurated by none other than Mahatma Gandhi himself in 1921. And it was a national institution of higher education. And amongst one of the first students from the Kashi Vidyapith was Lal Bahadur Ji. And when he got the degree, and then he was given the degree of Shastri, and that's how he became Lal Bahadur Shastri. And interestingly, he was also hugely instrumental in the White Revolution, which is today, we understand it by Amul. The Anand cooperatives in Gujarat, Mr. Shastri has been big sort of support behind that. The Green Revolution that happened in Punjab, which made us self-reliant way back then for all the food grains that are there in our country. In fact, we have surplus now. So, I think there's something about 2nd October, isn't it, Susan?
Indeed, ma'am. I was just going through the comments also, and most of the comments is also about how little we know about Khadi and what it has done to this country. Ma'am, we were wondering if we could share that movie that Prashant had made.
Let's go ahead and do that, and we'll probably try and take 2 quick questions after that.
Yeah.
It's not shared.
Prashant, the video?
Yes, ma'am. Is it here? Ma'am, is it audible?
No, not yet, Prashant. It's still in the small screen. I think you need to click on it just once again to actually enable its running.
Yeah, it's completed. Yeah. Ma'am, we'll play from the other system. I guess some glitch from my end.
Maybe Susan or you could take a couple of questions while the team is setting it up.
We can take up the questions by then.
So the question on popularizing, I think that is already taken care of. Okay, I think is the video coming on?
Yeah.
So Devesh has asked, can I export these products out of India? I'm sure he can, Prashant.
Yes, ma'am, we can export these products. The KVIC is the custodian of the brand Khadi for the world. And interestingly, one of the well-known Khadi product is not from India, country.
The videos.
And yeah, so I'm sure the viewers out here, the entrepreneurs, would take it up further.
Right. So let's see the video.
Yeah.
Find it out. So if there's a sound, we are not getting it. If it is meant to be silent, it's different.
No.
So probably later, I think you can attach the video to the presentation. Viewers, all our sessions go as a repository on the Ministry of Tourism's website. So you can always access all the webinars that we have conducted till now. And also in terms of the next one. TD, I think we should stop the video. The sound wave coming. I think we can probably attach the video later, Susan, to the presentation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
For now, probably we can do a couple of quick questions when it come. The one thing that I would definitely like to leave a thought, and that's quoting from Mahatma, is that in a gentle way, you can shake the world. And I think that's so much possible. But at the same time, when you're talking of something like Khadi, while institutions like NIFT are doing so much in innovating and in bringing us Khadi in so many different forms and blending it with different threads and weaves, it's for all of us to join in that journey that they are undertaking, because alone they can make the product, but it's for you and us to actually step out and go and promote it by buying it, by taking it as a small gift to whoever we visit. I think just that little sensitivity can make so much difference. Susan, would you like to do a couple of quick questions? Before I tell the reminders, where are we going to go tomorrow for our webinar?
Yeah, ma'am, there is one question on what NIFT is doing to popularize Khadi in India. Probably that question was done before we did the presentation, before Prashant did, and the presentation is then self-explanatory. Mr. Jayachandran has asked a question on is Gandhiji's campaign by Charka a symbolism on self-reliance, or he just meant to produce clothes for ourselves? To this, Mr. Jayachandran, he was a brilliant strategician, I would say. There was always a pragmatism in the man, and at the same time, he knew what would work in that context. In fact, there was a question in between about supplying Khadi blankets to the army. And there was ostensibly this anachronism that, army stands for violence, British army stands for violence, and should we be supplying Khadi? And he brilliantly says that, it's like the economic part of it can never be divorced. I mean, Khadi to be self-reliant and Khadi to be a self-perpetuating industry, which will give, as you rightly put it, ma'am, ek chula kisi ke ghar pe jalta hai. That concept he was very, very seized. And the various journeys that he undertook in this country had given him up close and personal encounters with the abject poverty that this country was in at that point of time. So it was not only about an emotive value or symbolism, but he actually believed very, very firmly that reviving spinning and reviving handloom can go a long way in economic self-reliance for the country. And in fact, this again resonates when he meets Charlie Chaplin. Charlie prepares this question in him, that a question for Gandhi, that Mr. Gandhi, I'm all for the independence of your people, but what do you have against machines? And Gandhi, in his disarming way, he says, I have nothing against machines. But then what if it takes away something? Machines exist for man. And if it takes away something from man, then that is not good. So for him, Khadi and that hand spinning was about the dignity of labor and what it should restore to man what has been taken away, which was his doroti, so to speak. I mean, in the Indian
One
context.
of our viewers, Susan, one of the viewers wants to know, is there a modern day charkha available? I know he's asking that question from Mumbai, so I want to tell him before you can answer, is that we did a webinar yesterday on Mani Bhavan from Mumbai. And Mani Bhavan on its website, of course, gives you more details, but you can go and do classes over there and actually spin a fabric to yourself and gift it to someone. But where could people procure a charkha? And how could they possibly learn to spin? Are there classes that happen across the country?
Ma'am, in fact, in the chat window itself, Ms. Srimati, who is a very well-known textile researcher, she herself has, just typed in to say that it is available in Sarvodaya. And, it is, the pocket charkha is also probably available. I would request Prashant to come in and enlighten us more. The pocket charkha that Prashant had shown, probably
Yes,
it is available across, e-commerce sites. Prashant?
yes, ma'am. And miniature versions of these charkas are available. And it is also available at Sarvodaya Bhavans. And the Gandhi Bhavans, which are they're almost in every capitals of the state. I've seen charkas happening there, and then workshops being conducted on how to handle spinning and learn from that is done.
Fantastic. NIFT, I must congratulate you. Last time when you did us the webinar on Chennapatna toys and also on the inlay work on rosewood, that was so very well appreciated. And in fact, toys has itself become such a huge campaign for India for taking forward the indigenous toys. And the Honorable Prime Minister in his Man Ki Baat till, I think it was in August, or was it July? I'm forgetting, but he mentioned about how much we can work through toys on economy, on learning, on making it, the whole thought of toys is not just about a kilona, but there's so much philosophy behind even a kilona and so much learning. So I encourage you, if you could set up a workshop at some point, or maybe just put a video on your website on how to really use charkha, how to really spin a yarn. I'm sure we'll have a lot of people doing it.
Ma'am, in fact, I must say that, thanks to that webinar, we had put Chennapatna on the narrative. And that was a time when Shramik trains were being flagged off, taking the migrant laborers to their hometowns. And Indian Railways actually did a bulk purchase of Chennapatna toys and put them in the train so that, they were taking it to their families, and even the families which were going inside the train, because it's a long journey to Bihar and Bengal, and for 2 days the kids would have that, and it was a huge boost. And we would like to believe that it was the push given by Dekho Apna Desh, and it was so very well received. And ma'am, I
Susan, right? It's about the momentum that all of us can give to anything and everything that's there in India.
Yes, ma'am. And in fact, the faculty here at Bangalore have been so very committed to local crafts. If you would recall, it was Shipra and Yatindra who did, the Channapatna, and they've been very, very actively involved in the development of products for Khadi project as well. So those lampshades and those lovely shibori dyed home decor, all those have come from the faculty only have been training these Khadi workers.
Right.
And in fact, one of the questions that was given is about how to sort of purchase these products which we have developed. I'm always straddled with this dilemma, ma'am. There's only so much we can do when it is left to the Khadi societies to actually pick it up and popularize and market the products and the skills that they have learned here. And in fact, NIFT has, even gone one step further and introduced an artisan or a weaver admission for the children who hold these weaver cards. And so I would really love for these youngsters, the second generation or the third generation, to come into institutes like ours, take, feedback on how they can product diversify, get onto online sales, and I'm just hoping that, it would be all out in the market very soon. People have taken training from us.
Right. So one of the viewers, and we'll possibly have to try and now end. We are 12 minutes over 12 already. But he mentioned, Sri Khanna has mentioned about a solar charkha that is available. So go online, viewers, and start looking for these things. One participant, and I know that Sariputra Ramteke is a regular viewer. Do we get the participation certificate? Yes, just answer the 5 questions that NIFT has designed for you. It's not about getting the right answer or the wrong answer. There's nothing right, there's nothing wrong. We just want you to participate on the MyGov platform. Take these 5 questions, and the e-certificate of participation will be pushed to your email IDs. So keep joining hands with us as we take our beautiful Atulya Bharat forward. And incredible India is incredible. And so dekhte rahiye, dikhate rahiye apna sundar Atulya Bharat. World is unlocking. Keep your masks on. Do everything that you need to do to keep safe, because it is important to be healthy. But tomorrow, don't forget to join us at 11 a.m. because we are still going to take you a little more about Gandhi. And he's such a tall figure. As I said, even 3 webinars are not enough. So tomorrow, but we are going to take you to Gujarat, because that's where he was born. That's where he came from. And of course, after that, he traveled not just in India, but to so many other parts of the world too. And Gandhi lives in us even today in so many ways. So tomorrow at 11 a.m., we're going to travel to Gujarat. So wear your mask, take your car out and start traveling. But in the meantime, remain safe. So thank you, Susan. Thank you so much, Prashant. Thank you, Team NEGD. And most of all, thank you, viewers, for joining us every single time that we send you the links. If we don't send you the link for any reason, please go on the website of Ministry of Tourism. You can go on our social media handles, Instagram, also on the Facebook. You can find the links over there. Please share them with friends and family across the world. Join hands with us as we take our beautiful country forward. So namaste. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of Gandhi Jayanti. Step out, buy a Khadi product. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you from all of us here at NIFT Bangalore.
Thank you.